Okay, so I'm sure most of you that watch my videos and are subscribed to my channel have probably already heard about the two Chinese researchers that are being charged with smuggling a biological pathogen to study at the University of Michigan laboratory. Yeah, there's all kinds of breaking news about it, so I don't know how anybody could not know what's going on there. But this here is coming right straight from the United States Attorney's Office, Eastern District of Michigan, and published yesterday, June 3rd, 2025. Chinese nationals charged with conspiracy and smuggling a dangerous biological pathogen into the U.S. for their work at a University of Michigan laboratory. So here we go, folks. Once again, I tell you what, they are just not going to stop. They're just never going to stop. So he goes on to say, Young Queen Jian, 33, key number there, and Zunyong Liu, 34. Citizens of the People's Republic of China were charged in a criminal complaint with conspiracy, smuggling goods into the United States, false statements, and visa fraud, announced the U.S. Attorney Jerome F. Gorgon Jr. Gorgon was joined in the announcement by Special Agent in Charge Shavoria Gibson, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Detroit Division, and Marty C. Raybon, Director of Field Operations, U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The FBI arrested Jian in connection with allegations related to Jian's and Liu's smuggling into America a fungus called Fusarium graminearum. There's symbolism there. I won't get into the details. But anyway, which scientific literature classifies as a potential agro-terrorism weapon. And this noxious fungus causes head blight, a disease of wheat, barley, maize, and rice, and is responsible for billions of dollars in economic losses worldwide each year. Fusarium graminearum's toxins cause vomiting, liver damage, and reproductive defects in humans and livestock. According to the complaint, Jian received Chinese government funding for her work on this pathogen in China. The complaint also alleges that Jian's electronics contain information describing her membership in and loyalty to the Chinese Communist Party. It is further alleged that Jian's boyfriend, Liu, works at a Chinese university where he conducts research on the same pathogen, and that he first lied but then admitted to smuggling Fusarium graminearum into America through the Detroit Metropolitan Airport. They don't say, so that he could conduct research on it at the laboratory at the University of Michigan where his girlfriend, Jian, worked. U.S. Attorney Gorgon stated, the alleged actions of these Chinese nationals, including a loyal member of the Chinese Communist Party, are of the gravest national security concerns. These two aliens have been charged with smuggling a fungus that has been described as a potential agro-terrorism weapon into the heartland of America, where they apparently intended to use a University of Michigan laboratory to further their scheme. The federal charges announced today against Young Queen Jian and Zunyong Liu, both residents of the People's Republic of China, signify a crucial advancement in our efforts to safeguard our communities and uphold national security, says Shavoria Gibson, special agent in charge of the FBI Detroit Field Office. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to crack up, but I know a lot of y'all are thinking that's nuts. This isn't funny. No, it's not. But as I'm reading this, I am sensing every keyword and every red flag that would suggest it's this heavy propaganda. But at the same time, don't get me wrong, it wouldn't surprise me if they weren't going to try to do a live test once again on these things, right? Anyway, I I I digress. Whatever. These individuals exploited their access to laboratory facilities at a local university to engage in the smuggling of biological pathogens, an act that posed an imminent threat to public safety. Thanks to the exceptional investigative efforts of the FBI Detroit Counterintelligence Task Force, in close cooperation with U.S. Customs and Border Protection's Office of Field Operations, these dangerous activities have been effectively halted. The FBI remains resolutely committed to collaborating with our law enforcement partners to protect the residents of Michigan and defend the United States against such grave threats. U.S. Customs and Border Protection Director of Field Operations Marty C. Raybon stated, today's criminal charges levied upon Yongqing Jiang and Zunyong Liu are indicative of CBP's critical role in protecting the American people. You make yourselves real important, huh? From biological threats that could devastate our agricultural economy and cause harm to humans. Especially when it involves a researcher from a major university attempting to clandestinely bring potentially harmful biological materials into the United States. This was a complex investigation involving CBP offices from across the country, alongside our federal partners. I'm grateful for their tireless efforts ensuring our borders remain secure from all types of threats while safeguarding America's national security interests. John will be appearing this afternoon in federal court in Detroit for her initial appearance on the complaint. A complaint is only a charge and is not evidence of guilt. Trial cannot be held on felony charges in a complaint. When the investigation is completed, a determination will be made whether to seek a felony indictment. The FBI and CBP are investigating this case. So, the timing is interesting, and it seemed like it was about this time last year. Well, it might have been maybe August of last year. I had done like a 3-part series showing information from the National Blueprint for Biodefense, and I've noticed there are a couple of YouTubers that are talking about this once again, where there's a scenario played out in this here. And this was something that was published in April of last year. It's the report of the Bipartisan Commission on Biodefense, okay? And we are now in 2025, okay? And like I said, the timing of this whole storyline and this whole happening with this dangerous biological pathogen. Okay, it's just really interesting. When we scroll through this, I won't go through the whole thing, but um, let me just get down to the scenario. This is the scenario, okay? The following hypothetical opening remarks by the chair of a congressional joint inquiry provide context for this report by portraying a biological attack sufficient to cause the catastrophic consequences warned of by the Bipartisan Commission on Biodefense. The scenario describes how a biological agent could target humans and animals, how it could emerge, and some of the key interagency capabilities required to address the agent and its impacts and the consequences of failure. A joint inquiry into administration and congressional actions before and during the bioterrorist attacks of July 4th, 2025. Yes, that's right, folks. In their scenario that they put out in this publication in April of 2024, uh, seems to happen on July 4th of this year. Okay, U.S. House of Representatives Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence and U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. And it talks about this health. I can go into more of this in another video, but I don't know. I'm already getting frustrated and my throat is dry, and I'll do another video. Basically, I really wanted to share this information, this latest news about a dangerous biological pathogen, a fungus. There's a fungus among us, folks, okay? And it's noxious, and it can cause head blight, causing vomiting and liver damage and reproductive defects in humans and livestock. It's a potential agro-terrorism weapon. And how interesting, like I said, in their scenario just happens to be a bioterrorist attack on July 4th of 2025, okay? Now, I'd already done a 3-part series on this when it was first published last year. Like I said, I think it might have been in August when I had finally caught wind of it and downloaded it and did like a 3-part series on it. But those videos, unfortunately, because I talked too much about COVID and I talked too much and gave too much of my own personal opinion, those videos were removed. But if anybody wants me to elaborate on this again, I'll do another video and I'll talk more about the scenario, read through the scenario. If you haven't already read it, you can look it up too yourself. Just look up the National Blueprint for Biodefense, and you can look at this file yourself, or I'll do another video and cover some more of it again, because I don't know, it was kind of interesting when I was reading through it last year, and I've already kind of skimmed through it again earlier this morning. But I'm just saying, folks, they got to put the information out there, right? They have to put it out there. And are they prepping us for a whole nother situation with another freaking bioterrorism, bio attack scenario again live? I mean, y'all back in Michigan better keep a heads up, Just saying, I don't trust them either way. Either way you look at it, you know what I mean? It's not a good thing. We're supposed to trust that they're going to have it under control, and that it's very good possibility they could all just be propaganda and just be a big mind fuck, right? Because they like doing the mind fucks. Mind fuckery is their specialty, And now they've just recently, in that big beautiful bill, signed in something about them being able to use AI freely on the public and for like the next 10 years without any repercussions. Like, they are going to pour on more propaganda, just heavy propaganda. So whether could just be propaganda, or maybe there really is truly going to be an incident, it just seems to be a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of news channels are talking about it. And when you get all of the media all together, all talking about it, and then the next thing you know, you have all of us alternative channels and content creators all talking about it all again, with this news story that just broke. There's a certain amount of fear. There's a certain amount of anxiety that goes along with it for a lot of people. But just stay mindful, folks. And it probably wouldn't hurt to stock up on a little bit of toilet paper and different things like that. I'm not saying going out and hoard, because I'm pretty sure that they're going to put an end to that right off the bat if they decide to kick off another one of these events like they did in 2020, like Event 201. This is like Event 201 2.0, basically. So anyway, let me know if you want me to cover this again. I'll do another video on it and read a little bit more on the National Blueprint for Biodefense if anybody's really interested. If I get enough, comments or anything, I'll do a little bit more on it like I did before. But anyway, stay safe and mindful, folks. They're just not going to quit. It's going to still be one thing after another that's just going to trigger everybody, and it's just going to create so much angst and anxiety and division and chaos, just crazy. But anyways, know that I appreciate you and that you matter very much to me, and that it matters very much to me that you stay safe and you stay mindful. So thanks for tuning in.